After a final news conference, Gus Bradley leaves the Jaguars, ending one of the least successful coaching tenures in NFL history.
The record, what took place, I take full responsibility for it. I have no excuses. I have no misgivings.
Now the search begins for a new head coach. General Manager Dave Caldwell saying he won't exclude even the college ranks to find the right person, but putting that aside, he may not have to look far.
Tom Coughlin's available to interview now. Is he somebody you're interested in talking to?
Tom would be somebody we'd be interested in talking to.
Tom Coughlin took the Jaguars to the AFC Championship game twice in the 90s. After he was fired here in 2002, he then took the Giants to 2 Super Bowl victories.
Coughlin, now 70 years old, seems to be the choice of many fans as the coach who could lead the Jaguars back to the playoffs. For now, Doug Marrone is the interim head coach for the final 2 games. Caldwell confirmed Marrone will be interviewed for the permanent head coaching job. We continue to follow these big developments within the home team. We begin with sports director Sam Kavares. Sam.
Mary, you could tell it was an emotional day for everybody that we talked to, with Gus Bradley, with Dave Caldwell, with Doug Marrone, and even with Shad Khan and his statement from last night, that this isn't something that they ever wanted or expected to happen. But the lack of success for Gus Bradley forced them to turn their hand elsewhere. They decided, after Jeff Fisher was fired, that if they were going to talk to somebody who's not in the league, somebody like Tom Coughlin, that they didn't want to be aced out of that before they had the opportunity. So Caldwell and Shad Khan had made the decision by this past Saturday that they were going to replace Gus Bradley after Sunday's game, win or lose. This is what Caldwell told us today. In addition to that, he said that it is a tough decision, but that when he told Gus in the locker room afterwards, he gave Bradley the option of when to release it, and Gus said, let me call my family and let's do it now. Other than that, you'd never have known that Gus Bradley had just been fired.
Hey, what's up?
As he walked into the room full of media this morning in Ponte Vedra, you'd never know that Gus Bradley was now the former head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. His usual upbeat self, Bradley thanked everybody, including the media, and had glowing things to say about general manager Dave Caldwell and owner Shad Khan. He admitted it was tough to hear that he wouldn't be the head coach any longer, but he credited the players with being able to move on.
Someone asked me, they said, Gus, how do you think the players will be? They'll be great because they're so resilient. They understand the business. They understand, people come and go at times. And although it might be tough, they'll bounce back and become even stronger. And, sometimes change is good.
Saying he'd coach anywhere, Bradley talked about the need to win, but also the impact you can have on people as a coach. He stood by his decisions and his process, saying he knew it was a big year for his job security, but wasn't focused on that. Composed and positive, Bradley only paused once when pressed for his one regret during his tenure in Jacksonville, saying he'd like to be here for the successes he's confident are coming.
They connected with their fans. They connected with the following. They played good football. They won. They didn't have an enemy. They had no enemies, and everybody was pulling for them. So, I regret, because I do believe that's going to happen. So I regret not being here to see that.
This afternoon at the stadium, as expected, Caldwell named offensive line coach Doug Marrone as the interim head coach for the final 2 games. Marrone has previous head coaching experience in Buffalo and at Syracuse, his alma mater. Caldwell said there are no untouchables on the Jaguars roster or in the organization, including himself.
There's no untouchables in this organization, including myself and any player, no matter how they got here or whether it was through a draft pick or a high-priced contract. I think my vision of looking at this team is that this is going into our first year, and we got to correct this.
Marrone said he wasn't focused on auditioning for the job, but rather the opportunity to move the team forward. His experience in the league would seem to put him on a list of candidates for the job full-time, as that's one factor Caldwell cited when looking for a new on-field leader for the Jaguars. Marrone said that he would be leaning on a lot of the assistants and particularly the coordinators as they prepare for the game on Saturday against Tennessee here at home. When asked today by the media, Gus Bradley said, "I already miss it." Tom?
Thank you, Sam. Many Jaguars players are saying they take responsibility for Bradley's firing. Brian Jackson has been talking with members of the team, including Roy Miller, a leader on and off the field, and continues our coverage live from the stadium. Brian?
Thank you, Tom. And as you mentioned, Roy Miller, he was basically an extension of Gus Bradley, both on the field and in the locker room. This team has really missed his presence. Of course, he's been out for the remainder of the season because he tore his Achilles tendon back during a Week 7 loss to the Oakland Raiders. And as a team, Gus Bradley is a coach that these guys really love and respected, and they all feel personally responsible for the fact that he's no longer their head coach.
Really sad, but you know, that was a guy that drafted me, that picked and, you know, handily chose me to come here. So some things that I felt like I let him down on, but you know, that's a great coach, and I love him as a person, and he goes to bat for his players.
Gave me an opportunity to play. I'm a rookie, so I was undrafted. Just thankful for him allowing me the chance to come down here and play, and he taught me a lot of things in just like 6 or 7 months I've known him.
There's plenty of blame to pass along for why Bradley is no longer the Jaguars head coach, but most of the players I talked with pointed the finger at themselves.
I take responsibility. I think a lot of guys right now this morning are doing the same, and I feel bad. He's a great man, a great coach, and I think this city's going to miss him.
As a team, the Jaguars didn't learn about Bradley's firing until they boarded the plane to head back to Jacksonville. If you needed any more evidence to prove what type of man that Gus Bradley is, upon learning that he'd been relieved of his job, he took the time on the team plane to greet each and every player and to thank them for all that they've given to this organization.
Came through and, shook everybody's hand and, showed his genuine appreciation because that's something that he really believed in. And I think that that's something that he, stayed true to throughout the whole, 4 years he was here. So I got a lot of respect for it.
He came back and said, hi to everyone and how everyone was doing like he usually does. People gave the goodbye hugs or whatnot, and he rapped with us for a little bit.
The Jaguars have 2 games remaining, starting with Saturday against the Tennessee Titans, and then, of course, they will finish the next Sunday against the Indianapolis Colts. Now, both of those teams are still very much alive in the playoff race for the AFC South title, and Devon House told me, hey, we've got 2 games left, and hopefully we can try and end somebody's playoff hopes. Reporting live at Everbank Stadium, Brian Jackson, Channel 4, the local station.
How long Blake Bortles remains the starting quarterback may depend on how the new coach feels about his performance and how well he can play in the future. Channel 4's Cole Pepper is joining us now with that part of the story. Cole.
Well, there's no doubt that Blake Bortles' future is tied to the upcoming new hire for the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We know now in the short term what the plan is for Bortles, but ultimately that's going to be the big question, how to handle the quarterback. One of the reasons why Bradley was fired is because he stayed with a quarterback who didn't deliver wins. Despite that, Bradley continued, even until today, to back Bortles.
He's got all the attributes. He's competitive, he's tough, he's physical, he's smart, he studies, he's into it, he's learning, so I just have great faith in him because of that.
In the short term, interim head coach Doug Marrone agrees with Bradley.
We firmly believe, that Blake Bortles is our quarterback right now.
That will last until the offseason begins. Then general manager Dave Caldwell will be looking to gather the perspective of coaching candidates, even if those opinions don't match the opinion that Caldwell has of his quarterback.
I would encourage a different kind of perspective. I want the right perspective, and I know we're very close to him, and we have we hold him in high regard in terms of what we think his capabilities are.
When Caldwell sits down with candidates, a process he says will start immediately, he'll ask what those coaches think of Bortles and whether he can improve enough to be a franchise quarterback. It's likely he'll get a variety of opinions. Some will say that Bortles isn't up to it. And that doesn't appear to be a disqualifying answer in the interview process.
I still believe he has a very high ceiling, but I want to be realistic about it too. And I think that a new head coach can bring a different perspective as to what he believes. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's somewhere in the middle.
And I think that's the key comment from the Jaguars general manager, is that he's not locked into any one opinion. He has an opinion right now about Blake Bortles, but when he hears from a number of candidates, that may affect how the Jaguars' offseason plans are as far as the quarterback position is concerned. Guys?
Thank you, Cole. Former Jaguars quarterback Mark Brunell is also reacting to Bradley being let go.
Today on the morning show, we asked him why he thinks the decision was made now.
Typically, coaches are fired the day after the regular season ends. So perhaps this gives gives them a head start to get that process going. But it's never an easy thing to do. It's never something that you want to have happen, but it does. And it should come as no surprise that they did fire Gus, because that could have happened 5 or 6 weeks ago.